Sorry about that, folks. This is Demon0981 again, and bringing you the second part of my video. Well, now let's move on to. Well, actually, let's continue number 6. Next, which was the Trolls from the Trolls and the Christmas Express. This one is a little known from Christmas special. But I actually came across it after watching one of CR's Forgotten Christmas specials, in which this is. It's mostly about 6 trolls who are determined to sabotage Christmas by infiltrating Santa's village. And apparently there's something to do with a train that delivers all the presents Santa normally would. As I mentioned before, the lead troll is voiced by Hans Conried. As we all know, better as Disney's Captain Hook. They basically want them to stop Christmas because, quite frankly, they believe trolls have no part in Christmas. That is until Santa and his elves show up on my Christmas Carol lyric book, and with the Christmas Carol Deck the Halls. There is somewhat of a lyric that pertains to trolls. I'm not going to sing it because I kind of don't really remember what it was, but it's in there. Number 5. This one's actually a tie between Winterbolt from Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July to Stormella, and Stormella from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie. Yes, the one that the cartoon hero reviewed. Both of these villains have kind of the same thing in common. They both want to get rid of Santa Claus. Winterbolt, as I mentioned before, are in my top 12 Rankin Bass Christmas specials. Wanted to stop Santa Claus from delivering presents by causing that big snowstorm that occurred, but was thwarted once Rudolph was introduced. Stormella is kind of the same way. And I'm guessing in the latter movie, the villain's reformed or defeated. Winterbolt gets turned into a tree after his scepter is destroyed. Number 4. This one's gotta be kind of cheating because it actually has to deal with 2 holidays in general: Christmas and Hanukkah. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, but I do not care. It's Adam Sandler from 8 Crazy Nights. Yeah, that's right, I'm going in with my gut on this one. Davy Stone does start out as kind of the villain in this movie. Mostly because, like Scrooge, something happened to him when he was a kid. And because of this, he hates the holiday season, both Christmas and Hanukkah. And because he's somewhat of an infamous type of guy amongst his town, there's no punishment that'll basically straighten him out. That is until a little old man, and also voiced by Adam Sandler. Her named Whitey, of course. Uh, convinces the judge that he can help Davy out. And if we've all seen this movie, it somewhat works out in the end. And basically I wanted to put this list because, well, as much as I regret saying this, I do kind of like Adam Sandler's work. I mean, I've seen this movie myself. I've seen in the old Saturday Night Live episodes that featured Adam Sandler. I've seen Hotel Transylvania. I've seen Jack and Jill. Oh, I've seen Grown Ups, both 1 and 2. And I have to say, while some people find him annoying, I kind of find him somewhat and interesting in a way. That, and let's not forget that the reason why most of us sat through that movie was to hear a reprise of the Hanukkah song, which made Adam Sandler quite famous on Saturday Night Live. And on to the next one, probably. Number 3, and I'm so sorry if any kids are watching this. But this entry, I am going and probably get a lot of criticism on. It's any horror movie version of Santa Claus. Or any portrayal of Santa Claus that puts him as the villain or a serial killer. By that I mean Futurama Santa Claus, the Santa Claus, the Santas in almost every Silent Night, Bloody Night. That St. Nicholas from, St. Nicholas. You probably know what I mean. And most of these Santas have one thing in common. Something happened to them when they were kids, which resulted in them turning evil. And quite frankly, and recently, there's a movie out called Rare Exports and Santa's Sleigh. And if you look on YouTube and type in the words Carol of the Bells, one of the videos that you'll find is an animated music video which features some scenes from The Nightmare Before Christmas and most of these movies that feature a horror movie Santa. Now, as disturbing and scary as that sounds, the next 2 on this list is, I can definitely say I know quite a bit about. Without further ado, let's get on to number 2, which is The Grinch. Y'all saw this one coming. If I was going to do a Christmas list, I had to mention The Grinch. Now, we basically know who this guy is. Is a green mountain dwelling entity who hates Christmas, hates the Who's, abuses his dog Max, until finally he comes up with an idea to stop Christmas altogether, which is to steal every valuable that the Who's have. Going from food to their Christmas feasts to their presents and every decoration that they have. That is until he realizes that, this didn't quite work out the way it planned. And when he hears, instead of crying from the Who's, he hears singing. And with some strange quick heel turn, or as the story goes, as his heart grows 3 times its own size, is he has a change of heart and loves Christmas. Now, what can I say about the Grinch that I haven't already just said? Oh, quite a number of things, actually. The Grinch is featured in three Dr. Seuss specials. One being the How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The second being Halloween is Grinch Night. Third being The Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat. But there's also a fourth, and this one is a rare Easter egg amongst it's the Dr. Seuss shorts. Whoops. I'm probably like the only one who noticed this, but in like the third act of 14 Hears a Who, not the one with Jim Carrey, but the original. Well, look very closely at one of the Who's who's pleading to Dr. Whoby for help. A green who? And it's the Grinch. Also, the Grinch is featured in, well, his own video game. He's on the Webulous World of Dr. Seuss, made by Jim Henson and his company. And there's a live-action movie starring Jim Carrey, which I actually like, despite what the nostalgia critic thinks. It's what most people would think. And now there's also, there's a musical based around it, which is actually kind of good, and is up for the soundtrack to it. Oh, and also there's a Universal Studios attraction of the Grinch. But basically, all I can say about the Grinch is that he may be like one of the most infamous Christmas characters, but he's also one of the reasons why I like certain Christmas carols. Like, well, his own theme song, You're a Mean One, and there's now three different, from the original special to the movie, and all else in between. And I like You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. But I especially like the original, voiced by Tony the Tiger himself, Burl Ravenscroft, who's also provided in his singing voice to other animated features, mostly those of Disney. Now, on to number one. And before I get to number one, I have a small list of honorable mentions. First, let's start out with, well, in terms of the honorable mentions, let's start out with the mailman from All of the Other Reindeer, made by the same guy who did The Simpsons. And this special rarely ever comes on anymore. No, I take that back. It does come on, but nowadays, since I don't watch that much TV, I don't get to see it that much. But basically, the reason why I put the mailman as an honorable mention is because he's actually happy that Christmas is canceled in the special, due to the fact that every other year, or during the Christmas season, he's had a boatload of work to do. Oh, and in his song Christmas Bob, Bug, and Hum, he basically explains why he hates the season. Around Hall, every year, he brings mail to people, but as the year comes to an end, and his strain becomes greater and greater. And he's actually tried to stop Olive numerous times. And each time he's somewhat failed, somewhat has succeeded, but he's then defeated when Santa the reindeer and Olaf catch up to him and take back and all the stuff that the mailman had stolen. My second honorable mention, and this is another forgotten special. Oh, the Goblin King from the Troll Prince. This is the second special I'm going to mention from, no wait, third, no, wait. Yeah, this is the second special I'm going to mention from CR's Forgotten Christmas special lists. And the reason why I put the Goblin King or Troll King in as an honorable mention and is mostly because of his voice, his actors. Yeah, that's right, voice actors. Since this guy has two heads, he must have a voice for each head. The first voice actor is Vincent Price. Who is probably one of the best known horror actors I can mention. And apart from Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and Peter Lorre, the second being, and now the late Jonathan Winters, whom we have lost this year. Quite frankly, I was a little bit surprised when I found that out myself when I saw it on the video. I thought it was Frank Welker for a second. But not much else I can say about this one. And the next honorable mention is, and you guys won't believe this, Santa Claus from American Dad. Now, you know that episode of American Dad, and where Stan becomes incredibly pissed off at at Jeff? Everyone wants to have nothing to do with him. Well, in this episode, he gives Steve a gun, and when they practice shooting at a snowman, and they notice that it starts bleeding, and what they assume to be a fake Santa Claus falls out, or from behind it, filled with bullet wounds. To cover it up, they bring it back to their house, where Francie and catches them in the act. But when they go back to the truck, it's not there. It's revealed that Santa Claus is now back at the North Pole, healing by a Wolverine. And as revenge, Santa's elves leave all these little creepy messages as they are somewhat of a Christmas pun, like your goose is cooked, like I'll roast your nuts in an open fire. Until they decide that we gotta get out of here. They come across this redneck out in the mountains with Roger, by the way, who's trying to learn how to make the perfect moonshine. Don't ask. Just watch the episode for yourselves. Who provides them shelter. And thus there's a small Lord of the Rings style war going on Christmas Eve, which includes Santa Claus, his elves, his reindeer, and snowmen. In the end, the Smiths prevail. Santa basically announces that he'll be back to battle them next year. Oh, what on earth is wrong with me? I mentioned horror movies, Santas. Now I mentioned a revenge-seeking Santa Claus. Okay, the last and next Next honorable mention I'm going to mention before I get to number one is The Toy Master from The Boy Who Dreamed Christmas. And this is the third CR Lost Christmas special list I'm going to mention. What can I say about the Toy Master exactly? Other than the fact that he looks like a combination between Jack in the Box and Pennywise the Clown. Thank God he's not voiced by Tim Curry, otherwise I'm going nuts. Basically, the synopsis is this with this character. He takes over Christmas, seeing as he believes Santa to be obsolete, even though Santa made him. I know, quite the paradox. And basically, once Santa has taken over, he basically overrides. It's the toy production and part of Santa's factory, and so that all the presents will be pre-made and before they're sent to his custom sleigh. And unfortunately, though, there's a little bit of a rap song in this special. Oh, you can catch it on YouTube while it's still there. And I recommend seeing this. That's just for this one little villain. And now, on to number one. And the biggest Christmas villain I can possibly say. Now, think about it this way. We all know that Santa Claus is supposed to deliver presents to good children, but for the bad it leaves lumps of coal in their stocking. But did you know he had a partner who actually punished the bad children? And number one is the Krampus. I have done a lot of research on this character, mostly because I've seen in CR's familiar faces on him. And by the way, you can catch it on thatguywiththeglasses.com or Blip. Well, he's still there. After all, what Blip's doing, I'm pretty sure he's still on That Guy with the Glasses. But anyway, the Krampus is one character you do not want to come across during the Christmas season. And I have actually made my own rendition of what he looks like, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. But anyway, I'll explain what he looks like. He's supposed to be like what we assume Satan would look like. You know, part man, part goat. But with an addition of an extra long tongue. Basically, picture the Grinch with horns and hooves, like a goat and not like a horse. First, as he wields in one hand and a collection of birch rods or switches, and in the other are rusted chains, which he uses to punish as any kids who have been bad. And as a bonus, if they are on the verge of becoming, well, evil, or just being downright evil, well, he stuffs them into a basket that he keeps on his back, and brings them back to his lair, where he proceeds to dump them into the pits of hell. Oh, if you wonder where exactly does this thing take place? Austria, Hungary, Germany, Russia, basically the Alpines of Europe. Up is where he's said to reside. Where every December 5th or 6th, he comes out well, with his partner, St. Nicholas, or Santa Claus, as we all know him better as he travels around looking for bad children to punish, while Santa provides the good children with presents. Now, there are many depictions of the Krampus already, not from DeviantArt or anything, but I mean actual on screen. The Venture Brothers featured the Krampus in one of their Christmas specials. Also, again, CR has an image of him on DeviantArt, which is kind of like a Photoshop version of the Grinch, but it works. And there are two most recent depictions of Krampus I can mention. One is in its own movie, Krampus the Christmas Devil. And going back to what CR said, Hollywood needs to make a Christmas movie centered around the Krampus. It actually did it. Unfortunately, though, I want to tell you it's not worth watching. It really isn't. And as much as I've been expecting a movie featuring the Christmas Devil, it sucks. Based on what they made him look like. And the last interpretation of the Krampus, and basically the most recent, it is the Krampus from the American Dad and Christmas special, A Krampus Full of Krampus. I cannot speak today. The Christmas special with American Dad, where the Krampus is introduced. And for some odd reason, the special kind of takes a turn for Beauty and the Beast. Used to way. But basically, Stan and his father want to punish Steve for being bad. And kind of free the Krampus from his prison. Again, I don't understand. But you can catch it online if you can, or watch it whenever American Dad's on. All I will say though is that of all these villains I've mentioned, the Krampus definitely deserves to be number one. Mostly because it's a forgotten Christmas villain. And seeing as it originated from Germany, there's kind of a reason. But now, he's come back in special festival celebrations around, not only Alpine Europe, but somewhere around, the U.S. And if you live in these particular states, and it's where these Krampus festivals are going on, and you might want to bring up a little bit of padding. And with that said, this is D191 saying Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Ramadan, and Happy Tet, whatever. And I'll see you next time.